Imagine taking the Ecoboost 2-liter out of the Ford Escape, putting it into a Ford Mustang Foxbody, and putting a big turbo on it. Well, isn't that a recipe for disaster? Apparently not. This Ecoboost motor made 425 horsepower in this Foxbody, and the engine itself was only $600 with 100,000 miles on it. So my question is the Ecoboost 4-cylinder the ultimate budget engine swap of today? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, if you'd like to help out this channel, head over to PattersonCarCare.com for our summer blowout sale of 35% off of everything on our website, including our incredible wheel cleaner that makes life so easy. So go ahead and use the code SAVEBIG for 35% off. Sir, introduce yourself.
I'm Dalton. This is my Foxbody. It's a 88 Foxbody with a Ecoboost 2-liter.
That was fast. So, into video. Sounds good.
Yep.
And you've been kind of slowly working on this car, getting all the kinks and everything out of it. But I think the most impressive thing is you said the swap itself was not that difficult.
No, the swap was super easy. A K-member for the front suspension.
Okay.
And custom-made motor mounts, and it just mounted right in. The shifter's like in the stock location. Drive shaft worked. Everything worked.
The clutch feels really good.
That's really good. A stock cable clutch from this car.
Okay.
The power steering's from a Smart 4.2.
Smart 4.2, that's right. I knew it was a small hatchback, but you used to own a Focus ST.
Yes.
That's where I'm getting it. So tell me about your trajectory. So you had a Focus ST that made a bunch of power.
Yes. So before I had this car, I had a 2018 Focus ST that had a built motor, massive turbo, cams, everything, the full 9. It made like 500 wheel horsepower. It was a blast to drive, but it broke a little bit too often because of the amount of power.
Sure, in that platform, you're stressing everything out.
Yeah.
First impression, you said your gas pedal is Focus ST, right?
Yes.
So with the Tremec Trans, Mustang clutch, 2-liter Ecoboost, not the 2.3. I think that's a big misconception because Chelsea DeNofa's is 2.3, and I think that's where a lot of people are gonna like really lean into it first. He's definitely been a big like pusher of it on podcasts and everything lately.
For sure.
But I think the cool thing about this platform is what you've told me is the power per dollar is really impressive.
Yeah, this engine was $600. It was a takeout from a 2015 Escape with like 100,000 miles on it.
You went to the Escape, you pulled it out, did all that, and then you put a bigger turbo on it. It's a B&R turbo, but it's basically based on a Garrett turbo, correct?
Yeah, so it's the Garrett 3071 is what it's based on.
I absolutely love that you told me what power it made. So you said 425 horsepower?
Yep, on the stock long block.
Dude.
It's a Focus ST turbo kit.
Oh yeah, your downpipe you said you made.
Yes.
Okay. What? That is so cool. Essentially what I like is, I've always thought about people doing the Ecoboost and the Foxbody because it's like, it would be a spiritual successor to the SVO.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And the SVO was essentially a tractor engine. The only time I've ever driven that engine, believe it or not, was the Turbo Coupe, the Thunderbird, and which was faster than the Foxbody, which is hysterical.
Yeah.
With this, you have so much room in the engine bay to work on it. You can see your giant sway bar up front. Everything is just very available. I think that's a really good way to put it. Trying to set this up as also a street/drift car.
And track,
and
whatever
track.
I can do with it, I want to do. You will probably spin.
He said it, not me. Get it. I can get it. As of right now, in my opinion, there's not a lot of affordable engine swaps anymore.
No.
I mean, the 2Js are way too expensive. The LSs are getting more expensive. You still have to invest money in the transmission, right? That's the big thing. But when it comes to like, I just want my car to have a little bit more juice, have a little bit more fun. Parts are cheap. I can go to Advanced Auto and just grab something.
That's the
This is it.
That's the biggest thing with this is it's all OEM Ford parts. The way I made the motor go from being sideways like front wheel drive
Sure.
to rear wheel drive. It's all Mustang parts. So
Right.
the intake manifold's a Mustang intake manifold.
That makes so much sense now. That is awesome, man. So what's your favorite gear in this car?
Probably second. Second's fun.
Okay.
And it's long, so rev it out.
Dude, I'm about to get so much crap for what I'm about to say. Are you ready?
Go for it.
I think this might be the new SR20.
People have been saying it.
The way it comes on and the way the turbo comes on when you hit peak power feels very SR.
Yeah.
Was that your first pull in the passenger seat?
It was, actually.
Because I saw you cheesing over there. I was like, yeah. I like the way it comes on because especially if you're going to learn how to drift or do track time in it, it's predictable.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and also you have a nice meaty wheel and tire setup on it.
So they're American Racing vintage grooves.
Okay.
They are 18 by 10 with a 275 tire on them. Right now they're Falcon tires, but I switch over to, I have a full another set of these wheels and tires.
Sure.
I have the, Tire Streets. What tires do they sell?
Oh yeah, I know which one you're saying.
I have some tires from them, just cheap drift burners.
Yeah.
That I swap on their 265s for the drift events.
I will say, I really like that you said that you replaced in the interior everywhere you touch.
Yep.
So you're like anything important. So you got, I love the blue door cards, the blue dash. Like I kind of miss the days of like colored match interior sometimes. But you also have this hood that has like a knockoff 2020 GT500 kind of deal. Oh, that thing sounds good, dude. That is dope. Also, do you have like a tile wastegate, tile blow-off valve or something?
Yeah, you called it. It's tile 44 millimeter blow-off valve.
Yeah, and it sits in a really particular spot too.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because you look in there and you're like, where's the piping go? And then it's right in front of the radiator.
Yep.
Because are there like full-blown Foxbody kits out yet?
For the 2.3, yes.
Okay.
For the 2 liter, no. I make mounts myself, and I've sold a couple mounts to other guys.
Okay, cool.
All the tuning and stuff is there.
Okay.
A company up in Michigan called Gem Sport. They make the ECU, they make the wiring harness, they make everything to swap it into any car. Trans adapters from another company, Esslinger Engineering, and then all the computer stuff is from Gem Sport.
Okay, so is the ECU like a factory ECU? Like
Yes.
from the Focus?
Yep.
So also I think another thing too is I asked you about this when we were doing your glamour shots was what are the main differences between like the 2.3 and the 2.0 because you said you can kind of swap things over and stuff
Yes.
like that.
So the 2.3 is an open deck block.
Okay.
This is a closed deck block. Those are the rear brakes squealing a little
It's
bit.
okay. We're all good.
Yeah, the 2.3 is an open deck block. The 2.0 is a closed deck block.
Okay.
They have the same bore and bore spacing. So you can take a rotating assembly from a 2.3 EcoBoost and swap it into a 2.0 block and make a stronger 2.3 stroker.
Got it. Okay.
And that's what a lot of the Mustang guys do, a lot of the Focus RS guys do when they build up to higher horsepower.
I did know about that, about the Focus RS stuff, but that is awesome. Also, your gauges work, like at least the TAC.
An aftermarket gauge cluster.
Okay, I thought so. But it's very period correct feeling.
Yeah,
like it feels super natural.
It's OEM look. It's actually GPS speedo.
Okay.
The TAC signal is coming right off of the harness, right from the ECU.
Sweet.
So like everything just works.
Yeah, when I got in, I turned the key and it fired up.
Yeah.
Like it feels very normal. You also have GPS,
Yep.
which is great. Also, it's on the 85.
Yep.
So straight ethanol, no mixing or anything like that.
Nope.
That is so rad.
And if you roll into it and let out like slowly, it gets a really good turbo flutter that's so addicting.
Aha! There it is! Was that something you just discovered? You're like, no way.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, that sounds so cool.
There it is. Okay. Technique. I got the technique. That is awesome. Do you know how much torque it makes?
About 430.
Yeah, it's great.
It's torquey.
Yeah, it's really torquey. You said something that kind of broke my heart, but I kind of understood it. you're like, I think the EcoBoost motor got a bad rep because of some of the Focus ST stuff.
For sure.
Because I think people see the Focus and they're like, oh, it's just that American hatchback with a turbo on it.
Yeah.
For the Mustang EcoBoost running 8-second quarter miles sometimes. But people don't look into it because, one, it's American. I think they're just like, why would I do that rather than getting a JDM motor or something like that? They made how many escapes? So many. Right? So it's not like it's not available.
Yeah.
It was a commuter car. When you're getting motors out of ex-sports cars, eventually they kind of start to run thin.
Yeah.
Because people blow them up or they do whatever. Also, your gearing with the 5-speed is very ideal.
Yeah.
I've noticed that because you can really just focus on your driving. And then shift to the next gear. This trans feels great. I mean, Tremec just makes a good product.
Yeah.
It just, because you said you invested most of your money into the transmission.
Yes.
Right?
The adapter kit that I have on the back of the engine adapts it over to a small block Ford bell housing pattern.
Okay.
So anything that will bolt up to a small block Ford will bolt up to this
Oh,
swap.
that's awesome. So it's very modular.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. Nothing on this car like looks out of place. That's what I really like about it, because I'm sure some people are like, how dare you put a 4-banger back in the Fox? Because, you know, the Foxbody, I feel like it's had an extraordinary up and down reputation. Like when it first came out, people were like, that's a Mustang.
Yeah.
And then later people were like, yo, this is the best drag racing platform of all time. Then it came back, and then the new Edges came out, and the Coyotes came out, and they're like, oh, Fox bodies are cheap. And then they kind of went up in value again. So they're very much like this, I feel like.
Currently, they're very expensive.
Yeah, I
They're
know.
a clean one.
I know.
This was not a clean car when I bought it.
Yeah,
though.
how much you get it for if you don't mind me asking?
So I got this car up in Michigan for $3,500. It had,
Was it running and driving?
no.
Okay.
It had it was a 2.5 Lima. So it was a 2.3 stroked out to 2.5 with
Oh.
a crazy cam, and
Okay.
it sounded, guys mistook it for a rotary whenever I was
No,
driving
we did
around.
not.
It would like rap on idle. It sounded hilarious.
So the rotary and pistons.
Yeah. It came with a 2.5, it ran, it drove. I drove it like that for the rest of the summer that I bought it.
Okay.
And then that winter, I tore it down and did all of this in one winter.
In one winter.
Yes. We did the turbo and the injectors and fuel pump and everything. It took us 6 hours to pull the engine all the way apart, put everything back on, and have it running again.
A centrifugal supercharger install. It's about the same.
Yeah.
So you did all of that. That's really rad. Is there anything you don't like about it so far? I'm curious.
The steering is probably my biggest complaint right now.
Okay.
I do want to try to swap over. So this, like we were saying, it's a Smart 4.2 power steering column.
Yeah.
I want to switch over to like the original power rack
Sure.
with the Volvo power steering pump.
Yes, which is what I have in one of my cars, and I actually like it a lot, and it's very adjustable.
Suspension is a mix of everything. That needs work through for sure.
Okay, but yeah, what do you have right now?
So it's mostly BMR stuff.
Okay.
Like the control arms.
Sure.
The coilovers are SVE coilovers. I want to switch over
Okay.
to Feel. The Feel has a specific drift coilover for this car.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then IBOC sway bars.
Hey, but it's easily available. You can order it online, and it's domestic, so it's gonna show up in time.
Yep, exactly.
That's the other thing. Last question I think I have for you is, you had the Focus ST. Sure, it was unreliable, but at the peak driving experience of that car versus the peak of this, which one do you think you enjoyed more?
The peak of this was way higher because
Okay.
rear-wheel drive is just so much more fun to drive than
is.
front-wheel drive.
It really, because you can just goof off. You know what I mean? If I want to do a fun U-turn, you can just whip it around real quick. It's just a little bit more viable to just do more motorsports in.
Yeah.
And I know you're like getting ready to do drifting and everything else, so I think this was a perfect step up for you. And plus a platform you're already kind of familiar with.
Yep.
And I think that's such a cool way to innovate your car journey, because you're like, look, I have this platform that's kind of limited. I'll just put it in something else. And it works. I mean, it's hard to beat when you're doing this, squeeze it into it. Dude. That is awesome, dude. Dude, this thing in third goes.
Yeah.
It goes, man.
It was so fun.
The internet has made us all numb to 1,000 horsepower and everything else.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of just, I'm having fun. And that is what this car feels like.
Yeah.
Let's just go have some fun, make some cool turbo noises. It's a cheap engine. I feel like the Hondas were that.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like cheap motor, no big deal. If something happens, it's all right. So far, man, you said stock block and it works.
It works great, even as a daily driver. Like we were talking earlier, I went to FD in New Jersey.
Sure.
It's about a 6-hour drive from where I'm at.
Yeah.
I took this. I road tripped this the whole way across the state.
Awesome, man.
It didn't have a single issue. It went the whole way. It functions as a drift car, as a track car, and as a daily driver pretty well.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Not a problem.
I really appreciate you
fun.
bringing it out, showing it off, telling your story, because with all the little tiny things about this car, I thought it would be better with you to be in the video anyway. I'm stoked you were down for that. I think as somebody who's sort of an ambassador now for this platform, right? You did it better than I could. And I think that was just really, really neat. And I think we just had a ton of fun.
Oh yeah.
On that note, I typically upload on Tuesday, Thursdays, or Sundays. What a car, dude.
Thank you.
You nailed it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, I thought this was a U-turn. That's not part of the outro, but here we are. Anyway, I typically upload on Tuesday, Thursday, or Sunday. And I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a great day. Bye-bye.